How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And as always, if you guys don't want access to the private repository for this project, there's a link in the description down below that'll walk you through exactly how to gain access to that. Now, that being said, y'all, let's go and hop into what we're working on today. Today, we just have a few more things to work on to go ahead and wrap up the logic for our list page here. Today we want to go ahead and make a new component to go ahead and display all of the posts for our custom feed list. And we also need to go ahead and do a little bit of logic to go ahead and fetch the next set of lists to display inside of the feed. So this is going to be another pretty quick one, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up the logic for this. And then we'll go ahead and move on from there after that in the next episode. So that being said, y'all, let's go and hop into the code and get to work here. In our code, first thing we want to go ahead and do is there is a bug that I noticed when I was editing inside of the delete component. So let's go ahead and come into our features list, components, and then our delete list.tsx. And here, whenever we navigate, this should be to /list with an S instead of /list. Whenever we tried to delete a list the other episode, it was just spinning because it went to the wrong route. So that's going to fix that. So that's good. And then next, let's go and hop into our Explorer once again. Let's go ahead and create the component that will actually display our post here. So we're going to go ahead and call this custom feed post /custom feed post.tsx. Let's also create the custom feed post.css. Top to the tsx. Here we'll import React from React. Whoops. Also go and import our /. This is going to be custom feed post.css. Looks good. Here we'll go ahead and export const custom feed post, which is react.fc. This is going to take in some props. So inside of here, we'll go ahead and say post is a feed post array. Let's import that feed post, or it'll be undefined like so. And then let's go ahead and set up our arrow function. Here we'll go ahead and pass in our post and create the arrow function here. Inside the arrow function, let's go ahead and return. This is going to be very, very simple. We're going to have a div with a class name equal to, and this is going to go ahead and be custom-feed-post. Inside the div name, go ahead and make sure that our post is defined. So we're going to say post, and then we also need to make sure we have some posts. So post.length is equal to 0 ? So if we have post but it's equal to 0, let's have a div, the class name equal to, and this is going to be custom-feed-post-text container. Okay, and then inside our text container, let's go and clean this up a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to go and have an empty fragment like so. Okay, so in here, if our posts are equal to 0, we're going to go and have an h2 for the class name equal to custom-feed-post-waiting. Okay, and then here we're going to go and say waiting for post like that. And then we're going to go and have a p. And inside the p of a class name equal to custom-feed-post-text. And inside the text, we're going to say post from people in this list will, and then show up here. Cool. And then inside of our fragment, we'll go ahead and say post ? .map. And then we'll go ahead and map through each feed post. And we'll do our arrow function. We'll go ahead and return a post component. Inside the post component, our feed post will equal to the feed post that we're mapping through. We'll go ahead and say key is going to be equal to the feed post.post.post ID. A little bit of a mouthful, but it is what it is. And finally, we're going to go and set a notification to false because this isn't on the notifications page. Save that. And that looks good. So that's all we need to go ahead and do to display all these. Obviously, we need to go ahead and hook this all up and style it. So let's first go ahead and style this. So let's once again save this after I clean that up. And let's hop into the custom feed post.css. And here we'll start out with our custom-feed-post. Inside, we'll say width is 100%. We'll set a height to fit dash content, and then we will display a flex with a flex dash direction and the column. Next, we'll justify content in the center, and we'll align items in the center. Then we'll say .custom dash feed dash post dash text container. Inside our text container, we're gonna have a padding of 32 px. We'll have a display of flex. We'll flex dash direction in the column again, and then here we'll justify content in the center. We're gonna align items in the flex dash start. Then we'll say custom dash feed dash post dash weighting. Inside our weighting, we'll set a margin to 0, a padding to 0, and we'll go ahead and say font dash size will be 31 px, and a weight, so font weight, is going to be 800. And then finally .custom dash feed dash post dash text. Inside our text, we'll have margin equal to 0 again, a padding equal to 0. We're going to say font dash size is 15 px. Okay, we'll say font dash weight is 400. We want to set a color to pound 657786. Looks good. Now that we have all the styling set up, we are ready to go ahead and install this guy and get everything set up inside of our custom feed view to actually be able to load all of the posts in. So let's go ahead and hop into the custom feed view. Inside our custom feed view, let's go ahead and come down here. We already have our page number, which I was going to say we need to set, so that looks fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and come below our fetch custom feed, and we're going to go and say const handle observer and observer and intersected. And this is going to go ahead and take in entries, entries of type any. And this is an arrow function. Here we're going to say entries dot for each, and then we're going to say entries for entry colon any. And we'll have our arrow function in here. So if entry dot is, and then this is going to be intersecting, intersecting, and we have a selected list, and we have our session start set. And we have logged in, and we have our token, and we have feed post not equal to undefined. So it's a little bit of a mouthful, but we only want this logic running if we have literally everything defined. Here we're going to say set page number, and we're going to go ahead and pass an in here. We're going to say n plus 1 to increment our page number by 1. After we increment our page number by 1, we need to go ahead and fetch the next set of post. So here we're going to say const fetch next post is equal to an async function, and this will be an arrow function. And here, once again, check if logged in, and we have our token, and we have our selected list, and we have our session start, and we have our feed post not equal to undefined, like so. Here we're going to go and say try, and we'll set up a catch as well, catch e. Inside the catch, we'll go ahead and console.log e, console.log e, and then we're going to go ahead and return an object with page as page number. We're going to go ahead and have a session start, session start will be undefined, and our post will be an empty array. Then let's come into the try. Inside the try, we're going to say const body is equal to an object. We're going to have user ID will be logged in dot user ID. We have members is selected, selected list dot members. Then we need our session start time. We need our page number. From here, we can say const res is equal to await axios.post. We'll say HTTP let's make sure we say like this, http://localhost:/list/view. Here we're going to go ahead and pass in the body like so. And then we also need to go ahead and set up the config. So we'll have our headers. Inside the headers, let's go and open this up, make it look a little bit better. Go and have backticks, or actually we'll have regular ticks, authorization, and then backticks, bear, and $ curly brace token. Like that. Looks good. Come down here. If this comes through, we're going to say set feed post, and we're going to have an array with ... feed post. I'm going to say ... res.data. So we're going to go and break apart those .post and add them in. And we're going to say if we have res.data.post.length is less than 100. So if we don't get back a full page, we're going to set end of post to true. We're going to go ahead and basically say, hey, we have run out of post here. Come back later for more post. Now we need to go ahead and set up a couple or a new use effect here. So we're going to say use and effect. Inside the use effect, we're going to go ahead and have one of these. Here we're going to say if we have a page number not equal to 0, and let's make sure we do this, not equal to 0. Then we're going to fetch next post like so, and then we're going to go ahead and watch the page number. So page number looks good. And then we need to go ahead and set up the rest of the logic inside this use effect. So here inside this use effect, we're going to say if we have our hidden div and our hidden maybe can't type. Oh my goodness, there we go, div.current, and we have our feed post, and we have feed post.length is greater than 0. So here we only want to go ahead and call the observer or set the observer if we have our hidden div and hidden div ref set up. We have our feed post, and our feed posts have more than one. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there and call itself over and over again. We definitely don't want that. We're going to say const observer is equal to new enter and section observer. Inside here, we're going to go ahead and say handle observer intersected. I spelled intersected wrong, so let's go and fix this here. So handle observer intersected. There we go. And I went past it. And then inside here, let's go ahead and pass in an object. The object's going to have root of null. And we're going to go and say threshold. Oops, threshold is 1. So we want to make sure it gets called whenever the entire ref is in view. Const target is going to equal to hidden div.current, that component on the ref. We're going to go and say observer. Oops, observer.observe, like so, and we're going to go ahead and pass in that target. There we go, it looks good. Now we need to go ahead and use the new view list component that we created. So let's go ahead and come in here. And we need to go ahead and put in this custom feed post here. So let's go ahead and say custom feed post, like so, and then we're going to say post is equal to feed post, like that, and save it up. And I believe that should be everything that we need to do in here. There is one more thing that I want to do before we go ahead and test this out, and that is to fix the CSS on the bottom of the page where the messages pop up. Doesn't really stick to the bottom. It has a little bit of unstickiness. So let's go ahead and hop in the messages popup.css and fix that up real quick. So inside of here on line 4, we have this position sticky. Instead of position sticky, let's go and change this to fixed and fix it to the bottom 0 and save that up and take a look at what's going on here. So now you can see that it's not doing that weird stuff. And if we go into, I don't even know what component to go into to actually check this, so we'll just keep it here. But this is looking a lot better. You can see that we have all of our posts here from Summer and Rick, and then there's some from Morty. Let's go ahead and give this a refresh just to make sure everything is actually looking good. So we come to list before. This was a page that was breaking. You can see we can't scroll anymore because our messages are actually stuck to the bottom like they're supposed to be. Let's go ahead and open up our test list here. We get it all loaded up. So now if we go ahead and scroll down, we should go ahead and see it loading in new posts. Let's just scroll down here. You can see it loaded, and then it went from February 21st to February 20th. So there's about 700 posts between these three. So let's just scroll for a while here to get all of our posts, and then we can go ahead and see end of post. If I want to, I could probably just make a new list where it only has posts from one single person. So maybe we try to do that as well. So let's go ahead and hop into Postman and create a list by summer with like one number so we can get to the end of the post faster. So here, let's say test list from summer. Members, we'll go ahead and make an object, the user ID, and let's go ahead and make sure this is in strings. So user ID, and then this will be, I don't know, like 1. And let's go ahead and create this list. There we go. And then let's go ahead and hop into here, go into our list, and let's go ahead and refresh this. Now we have test list from summer with one number. If we click on this, it loads in, so it's just Rick. So now this one should have less posts. Let's just scroll down. I'm also going to go ahead and work on the view system, hopefully in one of the next episodes. I'm not going to say it's the next episode. The next episode we're going to go through and fix some bugs and whatnot, because right now the post, can't really interact with them for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm not sure if in the network it's just not even doing anything. So it's coming, it's going, but it's not coming back. So we need to work on what's going on with that. But that's going to be another episode. We're going to go through and fix some bugs and whatnot. But let's go and scroll through this, see if we can get to the bottom of our list here. I want to make sure that you're at the end of your post is working all right. So we fetch some more posts. We keep scrolling here and keep scrolling until we get to the bottom of this page again. Fetches the next page. Seems like it's correct because it goes to June 23rd. Then we're right here. You're all caught up. Come back later to view newer post. So that is looking good. I think that's basically everything with our list here. We need to go ahead and obviously clean up a few things. There's a couple bugs and things like that we need to clean up. But overall, I think we're looking pretty good here. Let's go ahead and do it for this episode. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go ahead and put this in the end of the previous episode because it's pretty short, or if this is going to be one very, very short episode. At this point, it's extremely short. I don't know if I can post it as is, but we'll see here, or maybe I'll go through and I'll record some fixes and stuff and put in this. I'm not 100% sure. We'll kind of see how things go here. But if you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Everything helps out here at the YouTube algorithm. If you do want to see what we start from absolute scratch to get to point now, it's going to be playlists like over here on the indie card that'll walk you through all of that. But as always, y'all, I do appreciate you. This has been Ethan or Uncoder, and I'll see you all in the next video.